The new Lethbridge mayor has been on the job for just over a month now. It's been an extremely busy time for Mayor Blaine Hyggen, and we're pleased to be joined by Mayor Blaine Hyggen now via Zoom. Mayor Hyggen, how has it been so far settling into the mayoral's chair? Has it been a steep learning curve going from city councillor to Lethbridge mayor?
Yes, it definitely has. It's 5 weeks into this job here, and of course, where it's like drinking from a fire hose. I tell most people, if to kind of give an idea what that's like. But it's been really good. We've had orientation for a majority of this time, as well as we've had strategic planning. So it's great to be able to sit down with my colleagues and look at some of the different plans we have for the future of Lethbridge. And then it wrapped up last week here. A lot of our planning here with our AUMA meetings in Edmonton, so Alberta municipality meetings in Edmonton. So yeah, it's been a really busy time, but I think I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. I just hope it's not a train, Hal.
So Mayor Hyggen, how has your experience as a councillor really helped you in your new role as mayor?
That's a really good question, Hal, and I think it's been the experience. I know I was able to, as well as many of these councillors that were re-elected, be able to hit the ground running right from day one. Having the knowledge of what's happened in the past, some of the decisions going forward. So I think experience was a very big part that's helping me through this transition to becoming mayor.
Yeah, because I remember the last municipal election, people who never sat on council were getting right for the mayoral chair. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I wanted to run as mayor, I want to be a councillor first, serve a couple of terms, see how things go, how things operate within the city council before I consider running as mayor. Wouldn't you think that would be a better route to go?
Absolutely. I think having that experience on council, to me anyways, is quite important. I couldn't imagine coming into this role without having some previous years on council.
Now, you recently met with Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek, who's also new to her job. How important are those collaborations between Alberta cities?
They're extremely important. We've got Calgary and Edmonton being the two metro areas of Alberta, but the mid-city mayors and a group that I belong to, still represents over a million two in population and about 35 MLAs, and so we've got a strong voice as well. But you know what, working with Calgary and Edmonton and the mayors there, it's extremely important going forward. And we had, as I'd mentioned, I had posted on social media, a great meeting ahead with Mayor Gondek, and it was really fantastic. I look forward to working together with her and also with Mayor Sohi in Edmonton.
Now, you were in Edmonton recently, meeting with a number of ministers, including a discussion on affordable housing with Seniors and Housing Minister Josephine Pon. What's the plan to help with affordable housing here in our city? How are you going to work with the province?
It's that collaboration which is extremely important. Working together with the province. I know we've had an announcement made here, and it's been a few years that we've wanted to have this permanent supportive housing, for example, that was coming to our community. And it's something that I know we really have to keep that fire hot and make sure that the province is working through this. And I know with COVID, it's been difficult. We've had a project has been rescoped for a 42-bed unit. And so we're just hoping to work through that process and get that done sooner than later. And from the discussions that I had in Edmonton, that is happening currently. So let's just make sure we keep that rolling forward.
Absolutely. Now, you also met with the Associate Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, Mike Ellis, and Social Services Minister Jason Lewan. Mayor Hyggen, what kind of supports are being offered to help our city with the ongoing opioid crisis? Again, how are you working with the province in that regard?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's one of the main things that I wanted to make sure that was discussed when I was in Edmonton, and the meeting with those two ministers was very valuable in that we got an update on the 50-bed treatment facility that's going to be going out just on the outskirts of town here, as well as some possible projects for the continuum of care for these individuals to help those struggling with addiction, to get them into the services that they need, and so they can get back into a society and running a life that that we all want to make sure that is shared by all, for sure. And so I think that again, the treatment facilities are a great start to that, and we need to look at the intox and detox, and so it's the whole continuum of care, for sure.
Yeah, many pillars to be able to help people get the help that they need. Now, Mayor Hyggen, crime has also been a serious issue here in our city. Many people believe that the opioid crisis is tied in with some of the crime. Have you had a chance to sit down with Police Chief Shahima Adizadeh and maybe talk about a plan to tackle crime here in our city? I mean, you also used to sit on the police commission as well, correct?
Definitely. And you know something, and being of this an arm's length, the police commission, it's something that, or sorry, the police force, the police service is an arm's length. Directly connecting up with the chief is something we don't generally do. We do that through the police commission, and the police commission takes those the concerns of council forward to the chief. Not saying that I don't sit down and we have the chat with our police chief, because that's important as well to have that relationship. But you know, we've brought a lot of different ideas and thoughts, and throughout this process of the strategic planning that our council has done, we're going to be able to bring more to the police commission so that they can pass that information on to our chief. So we'll end up with a safer community for all.
Now, during the last municipal election, you also talked about putting more money back into the police budget, including around $1 million that was taken out originally. Where do we stand with that?
You know, it's something that I brought forward right away to our strategic planning session, as far as you know, making sure that we have adequate funds for the resources that we need in our throughout our police service. And so it's something that we'll be hearing more of here in the not too distant future as we work through that. But definitely, it's something that I heard on the campaign trail, and it's something that I definitely want to bring forward to give the adequate resources that we need to create a safe environment for all of us here in Lethbridge.
Now, when you were up in Edmonton as well, Mayor Hyggen, you also had a chance to chat with the Minister of Children's Services, Rebecca Schultz, and you talked a bit about the $10 a day daycare that the province recently signed up for with the feds. How do you think this recent announcement will really help families here in our city?
Well, we know that a lot of times, I know when I had to go through this here years ago when I had young children, and the struggle at that time for me, and I know it's shared by many, is, you know, we were spending more money or similar amount of money for daycare than what sometimes we took home as working in the community. So it was really difficult to be able to really get ahead. And so this will definitely help families be able to be more sustainable and be able to you know, have a two-parent system that usually happens quite often, or single parents for that matter, to be able to get them into the workforce and be able to have that childcare for a reasonable rate. So I think it's extremely important, and it's a great announcement.
Now, you're getting ready to strap on the goalie pads for the Mayor's Community Hockey Challenge, set for December 18th at the ATB Centre. Now, this is what, a fundraiser for our food banks?
Yes, absolutely. We actually, back in 2014 and 2015, I ran a Christmas Hope Hockey Challenge, which was you know, went towards the food banks, and it was a great success at that time. We were just want to reinvent that, bring that back again, and call this the Mayor's Hockey Challenge, and we're really looking forward to that and supporting those local food banks.
How much are you hoping to raise? Is there a goal in mind, kind of a rough goal?
You know, we don't actually have a goal in mind, and I know I've been asked that a few times, but it's just we want to do the best that we can. And there's some different ideas that we have. We may have a 50-50 as well there, and some other things to just try to generate, you know, the additional funds that are needed by these organizations. Because how we understand quite often that when we have cash, when these organizations receive cash, they can really turn that into, you know, more food than just us supplying those groceries from purchasing them ourselves and bringing them in. So they do leverage those funds and can usually come up with more groceries in the end. So I think that's important. Also, that we realize that there's cash donations will be accepted as well.
Yeah, definitely a great cause with this fundraiser, the Mayor's Community Hockey Challenge. But let me ask you something. As a goaltender, how good is your double pad stack?
That's going back real old school, right? The double pad stack. You know what? I try to get out a couple times a week to play hockey, Hal, and I really enjoy it. I like the health and wellness aspect of that. And I know in chatting earlier, I'm hoping that we can continue this throughout the year with other functions too. If it's a Christmas a Mayor's art challenge, a Mayor's baseball challenge, softball challenge, something to just get the community involved and be able to have the beneficiaries, those food banks or other organizations. So I'm really looking forward to what this is going to, you know, really morph into, if you will.
You know, if you do end up having that slow pitch challenge, please give us a call here at Bridge City News. We'll definitely put a team together because we're more cleats than skates here at Bridge City News. You don't want to see me on blades. It's not a pretty sight whatsoever. Now, there's been a doctor shortage here in our city for quite some time. I know my own doctor left for the Netherlands. We don't have a family doctor anymore. Many people no longer have that family physician. How are you working with the province to address that issue and attract more doctors here to our city?
Yeah, understanding absolutely, and you'd mentioned that how we working with the province because it is definitely a provincial a matter, but still we want to make sure that our community is accepting and that we're retaining, not just going out and recruiting doctors, but that we're retaining doctors. So that's by doing many different things. It's a community that people want to move to, and I know that we've had concerns out there with some of the different crime that is there. And so, of course, when individuals go to those that are graduating from medical school, we'll do a search. So first thing you do, you put in a Google search for Lethbridge, and unfortunately, there's a few things that come up that I'm not really proud about. But our community is amazing, and those doctors that do move here love it. We've been able to retain majority now, understanding that there's retirements out there and there's other reasons that doctors leave, but we need to work with the provincial government on this. And throughout the campaign, it's something that I've really heard a lot about. And so I'm looking at a mayor's task force to deal with this as well. So we'll be dealing with the provincial government. We're meeting with the minister here in a couple of weeks as well. We'll be coming down and we'll be chatting with him as well on what we can do to strategize and try to help that process going forward.
Attracting physicians here to southwestern Alberta and Lethbridge is very important. But tell me about your vision, Mayor Hyggen, about attracting more investment to our city to really help diversify our economy.
I think the biggest thing with that, Hal, is being mayor and when I was on council as well. The ideas that come forward need to be fleshed out, of course, with those experts. And so the experts that I find with investment opportunities here is economic development in Lethbridge and the Chamber of Commerce, working hand in hand with these organizations that have done amazing work for our community. I wish I knew I had the answers to everything, but I'm so glad that we have these organizations that we can tap into and find out from them what they've heard. And also, of course, if there's business that are reaching out to me directly, I'll make sure that we put them in touch with those experts and we can get this our economy boosting here in Lethbridge, and I'm sure it's and the area for that matter. So it's a very regional thing down here. So looking forward to that.
Now let's talk about some of the new renovations at the airport, which the city took over from the county. How's that coming along?
It's coming along great. As you've noticed throughout this pandemic, it's been a little bit of a struggle to get air traffic throughout our airport, but it is getting better. The renovations are close to completion, which is fantastic. And the best part about that, Hal, honestly, is that we were able to put in $2.6 million and we leveraged that fund in order to get $23 million back from provincial and federal grants. And so that's just over 10 cents on the dollar. So that's fantastic to be able to leverage those monies to come up with that $23 million for those renovations.
Now that the new council has settled in, some of the dust is cleared, can we count on you to continue with a 0% tax increase for 2022?
Absolutely. We've got that 2020. We see that in 20 years, we had a 1.82% municipal tax increase, which was the lowest in 20 years. And so for 2020, then we adapted a 0% tax increase for 2021 and 2022. And remember something, this is the municipal portion. So some people will say that, my taxes went up, but understand that this is just a municipal portion that sits at zero. So there could be other things like if your assessed value on your home goes up or increase to maybe Green Acres Foundation or to the Alberta school budget. So this may change it. So I know sometimes people say, well, gosh, citizens will say my taxes went up. The municipal portion is all that we can control. And that's something that we want to keep down at that 0%. And we've got that set currently. So I think that's fantastic.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I noticed that with my own home, it's a blessing because you build more equity, the value went up, but at the same time, my property taxes also went up too. So thank you so much for clarifying. Lethbridge Mayor Blaine Hyggen, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks so much, Hal. Always a pleasure to chat.